Something I'm feeling, I see the room spinning, and I can't remember how to breathe. I don't wanna hurt you, but I'm really aching. These hands won't stop shaking indefinitely. Please don't run away. I'm working through my past. Take a chance and stay. Fear is not made to last. She's still there. She's enough for the world. She is strong. She doesn't need anyone. The dark will fade. She will heal. She will fight. She'll bypass all of the fear. Stop and start facing these thoughts that are racing. They're simply created only by me. I start to realize it's time for racing. These demons need chasing so I can be free. Please don't run away. I'm working through my past. Take a chance and stay. Fear is not made to last. She's still there. She's enough for the world. She is strong. She doesn't need anyone. The dark will fade. She will heal. She will fight. She'll bypass all of the fear. Through this I learn we all are capable. You can choose to be afraid, or you can face those demons and send them all away. She's still there. She's enough for the world. She is strong. She doesn't need anyone. The dark will guide, and she will heal. She will fight. Oh, she'll bypass all of the fear. Welcome everybody to another episode of my vlog. Covers off the street. That was not a cover, with the exception of today. This is a new guitar that Luna gave me to do a photo shoot for, and it's pretty great. It's I've never had a mini like this, and it's like so cute. We named it today on Twitch Sammy Safari, because it's called a Henna Safari pack. So shout out to Eddie, thank you so much for helping with that, and Nikki and everybody who voted, thank you so much. So the other thing is I'm just getting used to putting her down. We haven't decided. We picked Sammy because it's a gender neutral, and we haven't decided yet if it's a girl or a boy. In chat, in the comments, if you can feel free to decide whether you want the gender to be a boy or girl, or they or them, if you think it's a non-binary guitar. I know it's been a little bit since I've made a vlog episode. There's a lot of moving parts going on in my career and in my life right now. Pepper, you want to say hello? Pepper says hi. Say hi. And shout out to Luna Guitars. Thank you so much for, always thinking of me and having my back and just letting me be a part of the development of your brand and for allowing me to represent as a partner. It's been amazing. And yeah, okay, so this is Fear, and we are going to pop up the lyrics. So when I wrote this song, I was like 25, and at that time I was like kind of doing an adulting vlog. A lot of those episodes are taken off of YouTube because they were great, but a little rough around the edges. I was really trying to figure out the direction of my life creatively at that time. I was still doing acting, but I was living alone in my own place for the first time. I had lived right before that with a roommate that just wasn't healthy for me, and I knew I needed to move. I stuck it out for like a year during my first year of LA, and it didn't get better. And it just wasn't the right fit for me. So decided I was gonna move. And at first I was gonna move with one of my friends, but then the studio opened up, and it was like really time sensitive. I needed to just get out of where I was staying. It was just not good. And so I found the studio apartment, and like across from Disney Studios, so not Disneyland, but Disney Studios in Burbank. It was in that area. And so I found it, and it was like a steal. And it was like slightly above my price range, but I knew I could do it. I knew I could pull it off. It was walking distance from work and everything. I was working like, I don't know how many jobs. Enough jobs at the time. So I moved there, and I moved there, I want to say it was about end of December. It was the first time I could hear myself think in ways that I couldn't before. It had nothing to do with the fact that I just wasn't around another human or anything like that. But it was like, I wasn't in a situation where I felt pressured to be something or think something or act a certain way to benefit somebody else, to the point where I just wasn't able to think about myself. And so it was like the first time that I could be like, wow, I can think. I can hear my thoughts. I can be myself in my space and not have to deal with, other people. And don't get me wrong, I love people. People are amazing. Good company is everything. But it was like very needed, especially because I grew up, in a family and in social contexts and everything. I think we can all relate to this, where, you just want to please your family, or the school or whoever, or in my situation, I was pressured, or at least I felt pressured to be more for people on the outside of myself and my body than was appropriate. And I wasn't really taught better, and I didn't know better, and nobody knew better to tell me. And so it was an interesting journey moving to this apartment. And so I started getting into self-discovery books. I started reading The Power of Now. By the way, all amazing books if you want to check it out. Power Now, Eckhart Tolle. And it taught me just how to be present, because I suddenly could see my thoughts, and I was like, wow, these are so loud. They have nothing to do with me, and yet I still think about them, and it's about other people and caring more about them and their needs and what they think and this and that and deciding for them. It was the first time that I could hear myself decide for me in a way that I couldn't before. And so through all of that, and there were periods before that where I was working on this somewhat too, but this was like the first time where I didn't have to deal with that other situation and all the things that I'd been through. I had let go of a lot of people around that time too. And so I started to find my ground. And so I moved, and I remember having the most horrible air conditioning unit because it was like this old traditional Hollywood thing built. And it was like one of the, where it gets really cool, but it runs up the bill, but it takes forever to get it cool. And so, yeah, it was a pretty okay studio apartment. It wasn't luxurious or anything, but it was great for what I needed at the time. And so, yeah, I remember being alone with my thoughts. And then suddenly I started to feel inspired to write music again. And I hadn't really written, I don't know, like in years probably. I had really felt uninspired because of situations I had put myself in unknowingly knowing, but also a part of me having a sense of knowing, but just like being so young and not wanting to face it. And so being in this apartment was just like a godsend, and it was like calm and peaceful with the occasional siren from St. Joe's down the street, which didn't really faze me one bit because I lived at Temple University for 4 years where there were sirens 24/7 because the hospital was down the street. I started writing again, and it was the first time that I was able to not only write lyrics, because before that I would write a lot of lyrics, but I didn't really like a lot of melodies. I would get two in my head, then nothing would come out. It was the first time where I was really able to just let a song and a melody come out. It was almost like I was ready for a channel that was just felt like it was meant to come through me, and I heard it in my head, but I just couldn't do it until I got to the right moment in my life where I would just have access to it. And so I started writing songs about like all kinds of stuff. And at the time I was doing acting, and slowly I was like not caring as much as like seeing the latest play or checking out the latest movie or show. And I was doing cover mashups, and they were not good, but like they were fun. And I was just like doing it, and it felt good. And so I didn't really have vocal training at the time. I mean, I had been trained, but I hadn't been with a teacher, and I hadn't been with a teacher to help teach me in the pop style. So I started getting with someone around that time, and I had a lot of trust issues. I had survived, and I don't want to say survived like I'm a victim, but I had survived, and I had survived a lot of bad days. And it wasn't just the roommate. I had attracted and put myself just not knowing any better, from sexual assault to friends that were very abrasive. I don't even know what the language is. Just like people came into my life, and I like let them, because even though if I had a bad feeling, I just didn't know how to just say no. It was an issue for me to like put myself first because of what I had been through. And so this was like my first way of like, I had done it before and tried to decide for myself, but this was like me actually really doing it in a whole nother way. And so I could hear myself and like started to quiet those thoughts. I started reading Power of Now. I had read also The Alchemist, really great book. And then a friend had given me a book called The Way to Love. It's a really tiny, cute book. It teaches you how to give from a place of kindness and love from the inside without expecting anything in return. I mean, obviously you hope that the person enjoys it and loves it and all that stuff, but it's giving it without the demands of getting something back. And it's not like conditional in that way. So those are great books, by the way. This is not a product placement. So through reading that and all those things and walking to work and trying to be more mindful, applying all these things that I had just read for myself, and learning resilience and healing and just doing as best I could, I started to feel like, wow, I got to the other side of whatever life role I was living before. And part of the reason why I took so long to get there was I was really scared. I didn't know how to face it. I didn't know if I'd get there. I didn't know what it would look like without it. And don't get me wrong, I'm still, right now in this moment, taking off another layer of that. I got to the other side and it was the first time I didn't feel just completely afraid and, how do I put this? And I know this is going to be a little bit longer episode, but please stay. I promise it's worth the conversation. It was the first time that I felt like I went all the way through something for myself other than just going through a hard time and grieving and being in toxic situations. It was the first time I found an inner peace of some kind. And that's where I discovered levels of true joy. And at the same time, though, because I had been through so much, there was still another deep layer subconsciously that I've worked through the bulk of a lot through the past year or so with the pandemic, but I'm still kind of working on and letting myself be okay with not having that anymore. And so I wrote this song, Fear, as a reminder to myself, like, whatever you're afraid of, you can get through it because you got through that fear and that fear and that fear. And like, you are strong and resilient and all these things. So that was kind of where the song came from. So let's take a look at it. I had written this song. Actually, I had like a friend over, and we didn't really write it together. He just kind of played lyrics, and I played chord progressions, and I just had a melody come out eventually. But we talked about what is fear, what represents fear, how do you want to represent it, and so I just made the song as he just kind of jammed out to whatever came out of my head. And so I decided to sort of write about what it feels like from inside your body, and in a way that maybe people don't talk about it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard every song written of fear. But so there's something I'm feeling if I see that I'm spinning, and I can't remember how to breathe. In regards to that, it's like you're starting, it's coming from a place of where the fear is controlling you, or not even controlling you, you're noticing it in your body. So it could be that you feel controlled by it and you're just reacting. But really what the true you is meaning to say behind that emotion is, I'm feeling scared and something is happening in my body, and like my hands are shaking, like I don't want to hurt you, but I'm scared. And so that was something that I learned coming across from all of the issues I had with some people that were toxic for me that I let in. Was one thing that I really noticed is that they were afraid. Because any type of selfishness or hurt, if a person is hurting, they are more likely to come from a place of fear than a place of love, because of that hurt they have to heal in order to get to that love. And so that's kind of where I came from, is like, I don't want to hurt you, but I'm hurting, and my hands won't stop shaking and stuff. So like, I wrote it in the terms of having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, but it's just saying that I am more than my fear, and I need you to know that, and just like, please just stick with me through it. I will get through the other side. So that's the whole principle of the song. So it says, please don't run away. I'm working through my past. Take a chance and stay. Fear is not made to last. And it's just saying, like, I'm a human being. This is not me. This is just a part of my human experience. Please trust that I am still in here and I will make it to the other side. And so that's kind of what I wrote about for verse 1. When it comes to, if we're talking about like breaking down a song, if we want to get really technical, but if we're talking about technique and stuff, I will be honest, I've never taken a songwriting course. I have mostly learned by listening to people I like and working with people from producers to friends who are writing songs, and they kind of just taught me along the way and I learned from them. And so my way has been a little bit less academic. Not that I'm not open to taking a course. It's a bucket list to, go through the motions just to, have fun and see what else I might want to add to my vocabulary of writing. But so just to give you a little heads up, I have mostly written naturally just by ear and from what I've just picked up along the way. So the first 2 lines I did, for the lines I did 2 rhymes and then letting the second line breathe. I don't know. I don't want to call myself a genius, but I'm just seeing right now, like, I'm really happy I did that. I said something I'm feeling, I see the room spinning, and I can't remember how to breathe. So I finished the sentence and the phrasing of that line, but breathe. I let the line breathe. Instead of it rhyming again, I just let the sentence air out. And so that's something that I did that I'm realizing just now that I don't know if I planned on that because it was so long ago, but it's cool. I'm nerding out with my own lyrics right now. Yep, I'm a nerd. I don't want to hurt you, but I'm really aching. These hands won't stop shaking indefinitely. So with this line, I decided to rhyme indefinitely to breathe, which is so interesting because how I would look at it now is aching. Is you would think that I would rhyme the first 2 lines in the same way that I rhyme that, but I didn't do that. Just super interesting. So this is the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus meaning it leads right into the chorus, reads right before the chorus. It's not in every song, but in this song, it was there. So, please don't run away. I'm working through my past. So this is every other line. Take a chance and stay. Fear is not made to last. So I already told you what that all means. And for this one, it was more, I did 3. So sometimes people will rhyme every 2 or every other. This is the other way that I know how to rhyme is past. So I did every other for this one. So away, stay, past, last. So that's how I did that. And then it goes into the chorus. So she's still there. So it means that, like, I'm still here. I'm just having a moment. And it's difficult. And at that time, I knew that I had some form of anxiety, fear, whatever. I had also never really, I had been to therapy maybe like 2 other times. Once briefly for ADHD because I couldn't concentrate and I needed help. And the second time in college when I went, I was dating someone who basically told me to go, and I was like, okay. And so I didn't have a poor experience with it, but I just didn't have the best one where I was really being challenged and helped in that way. But I think I had just done a lot of self-discovery through reading those books that was therapeutic for me at the time. So I kind of just did the best that I could on my own. And so I knew that something was there, but I didn't know what it was, how to heal it, but I knew that what I was doing was helping in some form. So I went deeper with that, obviously, and I did eventually end up going to like a therapist out here in California. I had a couple actually. And so what ended up, I thought I just had basic anxiety to deal with, but it turns out I had something deeper than that because of the amount of trauma and unfortunate abuse growing up. But no judgment towards anyone. I'm just saying there was abuse. And so, and I didn't know. I didn't know anything different. So this is just to give you a little bit of more backstory, where this is coming from. So it means she's still there. So it's like there's a part of me, and that when I wrote that was knowing that, like, wow, I have, like, sometimes I have pretty big spells of fears where I go unconscious and I go into this. And so it wasn't until the pandemic where it really just, like, slapped me across the face. And I had dealt with things, but there were things that just wouldn't resolve completely, wouldn't let go, wouldn't go away. And so at first I was like, well, maybe it's the therapist I'm seeing. And I did end up outgrowing that therapist. But it ended up being that I had something a little bit more severe than anxiety going on. I had to heal from some pretty deep trauma, which is sometimes, if not dealt with, or just having faced a lot of it, from sexual abuse, assault, neglect, abandonment, whatever, trauma, whatever you call it, we've all been through something. If not dealt with appropriately, immediately, or not given the right tools, susceptible and, like, experiencing it several times or over and over, it becomes something called a Cptsd. So C complex PTSD. So that's what I had to heal from. And it can be 100% treated, so that it basically means is that, like, the brain is not letting something completely pass, and there's something in the middle. Like, this is the best we can describe it. And so the trauma, pain, whatever, is not healing because of deep subconscious, there's like a tape playing over and over. And so partly it was like the compulsion of the mind doing that. This is very scientific. But so I was coming from a place without even knowing it, knowing something was up. And don't get me wrong, we all go unconscious and get taken over by emotions every so often. Our emotions get the best of us. But mine was a little bit more, a bit deeper, of just some things that needed to be handled that didn't get handled in the right way or helped in the right way until the pandemic hit. And I was like, oh man, I feel terrible. Let's deal with this. And so she's still there. She's enough for the world. So I think that was a part of me trying to tell the child within myself, inner child self. We talk about that a lot in therapy. That is saying, like, it's like self-validation. It's like, no, I'm enough. And I need you to know that. And at first, when I wrote it, I think I was telling the world that by putting it in the song. But no, it's saying, no, I need to tell you, my inner child, myself, my younger self, that you are enough. She doesn't need anyone. Now, at the time, I was trying to be, like, really independent. So need, I was under the impression that I just didn't need anybody. But what it meant by that was, now that I'm realizing it, is she doesn't need anyone. It means she doesn't need anyone to make up for her strength or her shortcomings. She can own that and be resilient in that and take care of that herself. So that's kind of what that is. It's like, I can be my secure self. I can save my own child, all that stuff. I can rescue myself. I can be self-sufficient. So that's kind of where I was coming from. I grew up with some old-fashioned ideal family stuff and just things in general where I just wasn't given the tools or equipped. It's a very common thing. And I was raised in a way of being, I guess, coddled in a sense, and or treated as if I wasn't capable, so I would rely, or whatever the reason was, as a woman, whatever. So I decided to write that in the line as a, like, no, I can do this. I can be strong. I can do this. And it's not even just about being a woman. Like, I think this goes out to anybody to know that, you know, you can do it. You absolutely can. It's just a matter of telling yourself it enough until you believe it, and challenging yourself to do it and to show up and to follow through, to come through for yourself every time until you get it. So it says, the dark will fade and she will heal, because she'll fight past all of the fear. So that explains everything that I just told you. So now it goes through the thought process that I told you about in the second verse. So it says, okay, well, this is how I'm going to deal with my fear. Because it says, hey, I'm scared. Please stay. I can work through it. So see, because you know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to start working through it. I'm going to start facing that these thoughts are racing, and they're created by me. Now, I would say that the me at the time, it means it's coming from within my body, but no one's going to say that in one line because that's really long, so I had to shorten it. So then, as I start to face it, as I start to face the fear and the trauma and whatever, and the pain and the whatever I need to heal, that I got to start erasing these demons and reprogramming my mind and getting rid of these habits and these demons. And the demons are interesting because, yeah, we have fear that creates demons and primal alt lizard brain, if you want to get into all that stuff when it comes to fear. If we're really, so fear actually means false evidence appearing real. So as you deal with that, you start to see, oh, just like in that episode of the Rugrats, or whatever cartoon show you can relate to, I'm from the 90s, that monster was just a sweater. So it's kind of like that. It wasn't real. That's basically it. So please don't run away. So it goes back to the pre-chorus. I should put up space there so you guys aren't. I'm working through my path. Take a chance and stay for Is That Me to Last. And then it goes back to the chorus again. Sometimes pre-choruses have different lyrics. With this one, I chose to do the same thing. So it's just wherever my soul wanted to write from. So then it goes back to the chorus. And then after the chorus, it goes to the bridge, and then to another chorus. So this bridge is. So now it's bridges are actually one of my weak areas. If I'm, it's. I have a hard time writing bridges sometimes. Luckily, we are in a modern music period where we don't always have bridges. A lot of times we have breakdowns in music and in interludes and instrumentals. But for this one, it all depends on the message and the story you want to tell and where the song just needs to speak and how it needs to speak. And so I felt it needed a bridge. So, of course, this was before the weekend and all the big drops that have been happening now. It says, and through this I learn we all are capable. So meaning like, you can do it. I know that I can do it because I just did it. You can choose to be afraid, or you can face those demons and send them all away. Now that doesn't mean that you won't have fear. You will have fear. Choose to be afraid, meaning like I can choose to wear and be this emotion, or I can I can take this emotion and be like, okay, I hear you, I'm afraid, I'm gonna deal with that, I'm gonna heal that, and I'm gonna let it go. Because fear is not allowed to drive this car. This car is driven by me. I am not fear. Fear is just an emotion that needs to speak up sometimes. And so that's where that comes from. And so it goes into the chorus, and then fades out. But what's also a fun fact about the song was this song was actually originally, before it was produced, it was actually like, it was in a waltz. It's in a 3/4. I'm trying to remember how that even sounded. There's something I'm feeling, I see the room spinning, and I can't remember how to breathe. I don't know why I wrote in 3/4. That does happen to me a lot where I'll naturally go to 3/4. And then, anyway, so producer changed it to 4/4. And then I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. It also used to, the chords used to be a little bit different. Run away, working through my past, take a chance and stay. Fear is not made to last. She's still there. So I think it was she's, and now for the world, she is strong. She doesn't need me. I think it was this. So instead of a C sharp minor, it was just need anyone. And so, which is fine. It was cute. It was very Taylor Swifty, like old Taylor. It's so weird. I was actually thinking of her as I was writing it. Maybe I channeled her somehow. I don't know. Anyways, she is strong. She doesn't need anyone. The dark will fade, and she will heal. She will fight. She'll fight past all of the fear. See, it sounds weird now, right? I think it's better like this. She's still there. She's enough for the world. It captures the emotion. She is strong. She doesn't need anyone. It provides depth and emotion and, you know, all of that stuff. But yeah, shout out to producers, because you guys help make the magic happen. Like, I could write the chords and we could keep them, but if we didn't change them, I feel like the depth of that song and the emotion of it would have just not hit in that right way. If we didn't have changed the time signature, it would have been pretty and nice and fun, but like, it wouldn't have been the same. And I think you guys agree. If you guys agree, put it in the chat. So, thank you guys so much. I know that was a little bit of a long one, but I thought it was important to really break it down and really go deep so you guys really understand where this song was coming from. But thank you guys so much. I hope this song has inspired you, and I hope you guys, if you guys want me to break down any other song, put it in chat. I know someone in chat wanted me to talk about how I got into streaming, so we will definitely do an episode about that and where that came from. Maybe next, we'll see. I'd love to hear from you in chat, so please let me know that you were here. Say hello. It's always so nice to see everybody, and I will, comment and everything as best I can. Let me know if you have a song in particular you would like me to break down next, or whether you would like me to move on and talk about my streaming and how I got into that next, or if there's any other topic you'd love to hear on the vlog, I will definitely get to it. But the one with the most votes will win. So as long as it's a family-friendly thing, I will do the best that I can to deliver the next vlog episode or forthcoming one with what you'd like to hear about. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome day, awesome evening, weekend, however you're spending it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share with your friends too. Make sure to share with your friends and loved ones. We got to keep growing, guys, because the more that we grow, the more that I can put more into my videos to you guys, and the more that I can keep creating amazing art and experiences for you. So it would mean a lot. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting Sarah Lightman on Patreon.